The new Whirlpool W collection with Sixth Sense technology that fully guides you to achieve perfect results. Whirlpool, sensing the difference.
Welcome back. Krissy Gibson is in the kitchen this morning, and we're taking inspiration from Canada for our sweet treat this morning. Krissy, what are we making? Good morning.
Canadian butter tarts. Good morning.
Never heard of them.
This will make a good morning. Yeah, so if you lived in Canada, you would definitely have heard of them because these are everywhere. They were made popular in Ontario and have kind of spread since then. And that was about 100 years ago that they kind of came onto the scene.
And they feature in everybody's favourite comedy series, Schitt's Creek.
Yes, that is my favorite comedy series.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, a few years ago we did Nanaimo bars,
And
which were also featured there, and now we're doing butter tarts.
So we've cooked our way through Schitt's Creek, which is brilliant.
We're trying. We're trying.
So what do we do?
So we're doing this in 2 steps, okay? There are pastry shells and there's filling, okay? And each of those has 6 ingredients. So first we're going to make the pastry, okay? Now we're taking chilled butter, about 115 grams, and 215 grams of self-raising flour. You can use a pastry cutter, you can just dig in with your hands. After maybe 3 or 4 minutes, that combination of butter with flour is going to look something like this, okay?
Sand.
So yeah, so you want to mix it up nice and evenly. You don't want to overmix, but you want it to be nice and even. We're going to add to that, oh, and by the way, we'll add a little bit of pinch of salt, not too much, but just a little pinch of salt. Now, there's our 3 ingredients. We're going to add 3 more. This isn't just water. I have 1 egg yolk, 60 mils of water, and about a teaspoon of white vinegar.
Oh, okay.
So that's, say, just 3 mils.
Okay.
Okay? Now, that'll give us a nice and flaky tart crust. Okay? So here, we're mixing up our crust. And you don't want to overmix. You don't want to activate the gluten too much. But once we have this nice and evenly mixed, we are going to wrap it in cling film and chill it. Okay, for maybe just a half an hour. That'll make it easier to work with.
Is it short crust pastry you're making?
Kind of. It's a little different because it's got the egg yolk and it's got the vinegar. Now, vinegar is not uncommon in a pastry shell. It's not your typical short crust.
Okay.
So I'm just going to knead that a few times and put it in cling film. Stick it in the fridge for half an hour. Okay.
Okay. So.
Now, once you roll out your pastry, you want it kind of thin-ish, okay? Not too thick. And you want about a 10 centimeter cookie cutter. If you don't have a cookie cutter, just use a large glass, a drinking glass. Okay? And each of these pastry shells gets pressed into a regular muffin tin. Okay, there's nothing special about my muffin tin here. You're going to press it in so that it's flush with the muffin tin. You don't need a lip around the side.
Okay.
You also don't need to grease your tin. All right, just there's flour on your pastry shell, so you won't need to grease your tin at all. Now, once we've got our pastry in the muffin tin, and this makes 12, by the way. If you have a little bit of extra pastry shell, you can use it for something else. If you have a little bit of extra
Or you could make 13, which is a baker's dozen.
Well, not really. I'll get to that in a minute.
I'll shut up.
So here we have our 12, and I'm going to set them aside. Actually, you can stick those in the fridge while we make our filling. Okay. Here I've got 200 grams of light muscovado sugar, okay? If you like a stronger molassesy flavor, you could use dark muscovado, but I suggest light muscovado, which you can find at both Dunn's and Tesco. We're not using Demerara. Okay. I added to that 60 grams of really soft butter, okay? So you can use a spoon to work it through, or you can use your hand. I don't mind using my hands. Okay. I'm adding about a half a teaspoon of salt, which is, let's say, 3 grams. Okay. I'm adding a teaspoon of vanilla extract, okay? And the purer, the better. And 1 egg, all right? This isn't just the egg yolk, it's a full egg. Now, this is my filling. Another 6 ingredients. So you asked about making a baker's dozen.
Yes, sorry.
Making 13.
Sorry.
Here's why we can't do that.
Right.
This filling, this recipe is going to give you just 12.
Oh, just about. Okay,
yeah.
Right.
So I wanted to say that if you do have extra pastry, don't be tempted to go trying to make more.
Because you won't have enough filling.
You know, when we were talking earlier in the show, I mentioned how, you know, these are very common like mince pies, but they aren't pies. They're just tarts. So you'd think that these would be really full and really plump and puffy, and they're not. As soon as you cut into that, it's going to ooze out the side, and you'll see that it's actually kind of just a shell with sweet stuff inside.
Good.
Okay?
Good.
So here we have our filling. It's done and dusted. We're just gonna fill our tart shell with about a spoonful each, okay?
So you don't want to pack it up?
When all is said and done, you're not, no.
Okay.
Just about a spoonful each. You will find that the amount you made fills these perfectly, and you're not gonna have any left over.
Okay.
Okay? Now, you put it in the oven for, say, 13 to 15 minutes at 180. You don't want them to burn, but you also don't want them to be completely liquidy.
Okay.
If you like,
so you wanted to set slightly.
Set slightly, but not set all the way. Some people don't like it runny.
Yeah.
So you might want to bake it a couple minutes extra. Now, about 5 minutes after you take these out of the oven, just take a butter knife and go around the tarts and loosen them up, okay? You're not putting papers in the muffin tins, okay? But you'll find that these are kind of stuck to your muffin tins. So just take a butter knife.
Just loosen them.
That's right. And these are great with vanilla ice cream, and they're great with freshly whipped cream, which is what I gave you today. So take a taste of that. These are really sweet.
So a Canadian staple, huh?
The one that I gave you
Yes.
has chocolate chips in it.
Oh.
Okay?
Thank you very much.
You can also put raisins in these.
But why would you want to?
I think that Simon wouldn't want to.
Why would you want to?
I think that the kind with raisins is probably the most common.
Right, here
Give
we
those
go.
a taste and let me know what you
on
think.
behalf of you.
It is sweet, isn't it? That's a Canadian butter tart.
It's beautiful. Like
Now,
the country. It's
Simon,
beautiful.
I know that you won't use raisins.
She's still talking. But
I can't, I know.
Yes, I won't use raisins.
It's hard to shut me up, isn't it?
Oh man, they're good.
Now, if you do use raisins, I know
Yeah.
you won't, but
No.
you know, some of us might like to.
Yeah.
If you do use raisins, you're going to simply soak these in hot, hot water for a few minutes.
Right, okay, before you put them in.
Yeah, and
Okay.
the idea, if you do choose to put something at the bottom of your tart, like the chocolate chips or like raisins, you just put maybe 5 at the bottom of the tart, or 4, or 8, you know, and then put your filling on top.
Almost caramel-esque.
Yes,
Isn't
so
it?
it's a butterscotchy and caramel flavor that you have going on.
Oh, that's so good. Thank you,
You like
Krissy.
it?
Yeah, I love it. Thank
Good.
you.
I'm so
All
glad.
recipe details are up on the website, or you can call into Krissy and Take the Cake Bakery. Tell her we sent you. Now, actor, comedian, and now talent show judge Deirdre O'Kane is up next. Don't go anywhere. See you in a minute.
The new Whirlpool W collection with 6th Sense technology that fully guides you to achieve perfect results. Whirlpool, sensing the difference.